living with the Rebbe and experiencing Tishrei with the Rebbe, I cannot tell you enough what it meant, especially in your age, because I remember most of your age. When I was your age, was the height of, how can I say the height? The height is any moment, but you know, there's the, as they say, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. In the 80s, when I was a kid, since Hashem started, the Rebbe gave us all the attention you can get. I mean, you can't imagine what it means to have attention to the Rebbe. And all of a sudden we exist. All of a sudden every move a kid made, the Rebbe moved under to the right, to the left. I had this source one time, just to throw in my personal thing, you know, the kids used to sit next to the Rebbe. So before Tishrei when the Rebbe made a big deal about Hashem, I was, you know, I used to sit on my grandfather's lap, on other people's laps over there as a kid. And then Tishrei all the kids started coming. And one time I didn't like exactly how I was pushed around over there, and I went around. Unusual, I never went there, and I stuck out my head in front of Rabbi Leibel who used to sit on the Rebbe's left side. And all of a sudden, the Rebbe turned to me, and started making very strong. The Rebbe didn't used to clap much with Rebbe. The Rebbe would make with his hands mostly. And the Rebbe turned to his left, which was also an awkward position to clap. And the Rebbe was just clapping with me for a long time. And then the Rebbe, by the end, asked me to say l'chaim, which is also an unusual thing for a kid. But I had this unique, this experience that I had at this age, at your age. That to me was the height. You know, people like sports, people like other things. That was what I loved to do. I used to love to come to 770, but it was from a very young age and a pure age of seeing this, that this is the only reality, this is what we look forward to. From my bar mitzvah age, which is your age, and all, of course, till I was 18, 19, Chazai Nada, and beyond, of course. I know you Rebbe's know more than me. When I was a young kid, your age, I used to snoop around even in the Altaira, and Rabbi Greenberg was over there. I remember him, you know, from when he was 18-year-old and all the years through 770. I was always hanging around there when it wasn't my business. But I'll tell you a little bit of my experience so you can also see it as I'll walk through the days from Tzom Gedalia and on until now, till Yom Kippur. So, Tzom Gedalia, let me just describe to you something. The Rebbe would participate in the minyan, not the way it's over. Who can tell me this? Is this upstairs or downstairs? This is downstairs. The Rebbe would mainly, every Monday and Thursday, and every Mincha Ma'ariv, participate in the Bachar's minyan. The Rebbe would join the yeshiva in whatever day. That's how the Rebbe's schedule was, around the yeshiva. And even if I'm bringing it, everyone said he always made it 9:30. Why 9:30? The Rebbe explained, because that's when the yeshiva finishes learning. I don't want a Bachar to miss 1 minute of learning. So therefore, the Rebbe used to always participate in the yeshiva's schedule. And the Rebbe in the morning, till the Rebbe Tzidchai Mushka, the Rebbe's wife, passed away, would not daven chakras for the minyan. The Rebbe would daven himself in his room. And I was privy to have from older Hasidim some information that I didn't know, because it was before I was born. In the 1960s, in the Chofs, many of the Bachrim would have a certain place that they were able to see the Rebbe's room. There was a certain window, which later became enclosed and part of the wall. But Bachrim, were a little bit chutzpahdik, would look sometimes in there. And one of those things that the Chassid told me, that every morning, that would come to 770, he would get all the mail. It came that day, always in the mail. People asking for brachas. So the Rebbe used to read the mail very quickly. There was a very, besides a great tzaddik and everything, that was a very quick reader, a scanner, a scan reader. This Romantic, the Rebbe would answer also very quickly. And the Rebbe used to call the secretary and say, Tzadon Nachpost, that before the Rebbe would start davening, they would ask for all the mail to come in. And then they noticed that when the Rebbe used to daven, the Rebbe used to have his hands on the mail that was sitting there. On all the people's makashas, the Rebbe would put his hand on it while they would daven. Something very unique. We don't understand. The Rebbe, we know the Rebbe would daven in his room. But the Rebbe would only come outside Mondays and Thursdays when there was Kriyas HaTorah. So the minyan would start 9:30. That's the Bachrim's minyan. 10 o'clock the Rebbe would arrive, and the Rebbe would walk out to Kriyas HaTorah. On the way to Kriyas HaTorah, the Rebbe would give all the young kids nickels, dimes, mainly nickels, put them to the pushka. That was, of course, as a kid. I would always be there. You couldn't keep the nickel. You had to put it right into the pushka. I had a lot of those. It was a time that I was year 8 or younger even. I was trying to be a chacham because I want to see the Rebbe because I came all the way from Al Torah to 70, you know, on recess or somewhere when I was not supposed to. So my trouble years was my running to the Rebbe. So I used to look from the side to see the Rebbe, but I didn't want the Rebbe to see me because the Bachram were telling me, stop bothering the Rebbe every time you're there to get a nickel. So I tried to be a chacham on both sides to hide, and then I see the Rebbe going to the bushka and the Rebbe says nickel like this, and then I should come. So there was no hiding. And that would give us nickels to put into the bushka. Later on, Tashom Ches, the Rebbe started davening with the minyan. So Tashom Ches, every shachris was part of the minyan. So Tzom Gedalia, when the difference that the Rebbe came like this, with the hand and kapata, to the minyan, or the Rebbe would start with the talis, because the Rebbe would daven the whole tefillah with the minyan. When you do slichas part of the minyan, you do it by tachanun. You do it without the minyan, you do it before Haiduk. There were kids your age, and I was just bar mitzvah, and Rabbi Leibel was yelling at me, and Rabbi Leibel wouldn't talk in his tefillin, he would go like this, and he would say in Hebrew. So he would scream at me, Ma'ata Rebbe, Ma'ata Rebbe, like, no, just put on tefillin, I shouldn't act like the Rebbe, and be without, because I thought I'll be without like the Rebbe didn't daven yet, and so even though I was young and a bar mitzvah boy, it was like, you know, everybody else gets the talis and tefillin, only the Rebbe would come down, downstairs, because Tishrei Rebbe would come downstairs in the hat and jacket. So I'm just giving you this so you should know what went on in those years. After talking about Tzom Gedalia, what was unique about Tzom Gedalia, of course, is the haftarah that I would say. Dirsha Hashem B'Yimatzai was a unique haftarah more than the rest of the year. I mean, I heard every haftarah. I did not hear Mafta Yaina. I'll talk about it soon. Because my place was secure in the front to see the Napoleon's march. Many people did hear it. But in general, the Rebbe's mafter of Tainus was more expressive than all the others. You go to Bar Mitzvah, it says the haftarah, you say with the niggin and the Pasuk and the Esnachta, you know, you do it all that. The Rebbe was more a plain Balmanagan of haftarah. Wasn't so stressed every dargo severe and a revi. But the Rebbe and the haftarah of Tainus Sibur was, I think, very unique in its expression. No, you think so? It was unique. They say, we hear it on the videos, but we heard it every Shabbos. You don't feel that it was very unique on the haftarah as it was by a slichs, by a Tainus. Following Tzom Gedalia, we turn to Vav Tishrei. Vav Tishrei, we all know what's very unique is Rebbe's HaShana. The Rebbe is unique derech his mother. I'm going to tell you. We all heard the stories. The Rebbe would not miss a day to visit his mother. The Rebbe, you know, the Rebbe's time was so busy that he had the key. I used to see the Rebbe had the key in his hand on the way from Shachris before Groner started opening for the Rebbe to make sure that no second is taken. Remember by Meijer, even like by the last Kaddish, the Rebbe's hand was in his pocket already with the key to make sure that it doesn't take a second, that the key goes in the keyhole, and you know that wouldn't waste a second. But of course, every single day they would make a short but a meaningful visit to the Rebbe's mother, Rebbe HaShana, who lived on President in Kingston. The Rebbe made a unique visit, as you just saw the picture, when the Rebbe went to Paris to visit his mother and to bring her to America. It was the only time the Rebbe left New York, and I understand the only time in the Rebbe's life that was on a plane was on the way to Paris, but on the way back he came by boat, as it was more customary at that time. It could be also was accommodating his mother. It was something very unique then to go by plane. And the Rebbe came back by boat. The Rebbe didn't see his mother for 17 years, 15 years prior to that. The unique time of the Rebbe with his mother for hours and hours in a room alone, when the Rebbe saw his mother, was very unique. And of course, the HaShana covered that the Rebbe had his mother was seen at that time. The Rebbe's covered his mother went throughout all the years. I talked to you about this last year. I'm not going to repeat the stories that I said about the stories of Vav Tishrei that I said the last 2 years at the rally. But what we saw every year, that every day that every time that we go to the oil, that would afterwards go to the cave of his mother. And there's videos of it in the later years in the Nuns, Nun Aleph, even the Beis, and you could actually see how the Rebbe go to the other Sefer, but the Rebbe would actually lift his head up in the expression to his mother by her caver, and you see the Rebbe going with his hand like that, like there was some kind of expression there even, unique. You know, years are covered. The Rebbe just spoke to by the Fidik Rebbe for hours, this follow for everybody that was going back to Heights, it's late at night already, But the Rebbe would spend time by his mother, even as going to her at her kaven. Every time the Rebbe would go to the oil, and there was a path made for it, a special light made, as the Rebbe would go to the HaShana in the later years, the Rebbe Mushka as well. And Vav Tishrei itself, we know that the Rebbe from the early in the morning, the Rebbe was very involved. The Rebbe wanted to know every detail of what's going on over there. Till the extent that by the Farbrengen, they notified the Rebbe, or the Farbrengen, by Mincha time, that the situation is getting severe. The Rebbe went very fast home, sort of like running. The whole Chassid, a lot of Chassidim going behind the Rebbe, of course, to see what's happening. The Rebbe said that he's ready to spend as much money as it's needed to make a hospital over there, like it happened for the Rebbe when the Rebbe had a heart attack and a stroke. We know that they set up a hospital for the Rebbe. The Rebbe said that for his mother it was the same thing. He's ready to spend all the money needed, even to make a hospital over there. The Rebbe said money is not an issue. That's how much cover the Rebbe gave to his mother. But however, the doctor said that she had a stroke that day, and it's very needed. The Rebbe said, okay, I'm yielding to the opinion of the doctors and the Rabbanim at that time. Dr. Zelitzin and two other doctors that were there. But the Rebbe definitely showed that he was ready to do for his mother as you would do for the leader of the generation and for whatever she needs. The Rebbe did something also very unique. The Rebbe went in the ambulance on Shabbos because anyone who could bring help and cure even a tzaddik for someone, of course his son is the most comfort that the mother could have. And then went with her to the hospital. The Rebbe did not eat this on the Shabbos that day. The Rebbe was a oinen as she passed away on Shabbos. The Rebbe didn't accept from any, I think it was your grandfather that was there. He tried to tell the Rebbe that it's okay to wash. The Rebbe asked the credentials of who said, and the Rabbi Jacob said, I left already, somebody else left already, and the Rebbe didn't accept the ruling, and the Rebbe just waited very, very quietly in the room, waiting for the night to come out of the daven, Ma'ariv, and eventually the Levaya was the next day. I think I'm more here to talk about my experience. I'll go straight on to days before Yom Kippur, and the Rebbe's davening for the Yomid on Vav Tishrei. If I bring in, of course, it's unique. The Rebbe's davening for the Yomid on Tishrei. We're all packed in over there. If you go one more slide, you can see. Go back one second. You can see. Let me see who's there. Go back one time. Let me see the other side. The other picture. No, they're there. So this is a backwards picture, actually. No, it's not. So the men were sometimes allowed, or I'm not sure if it's on the right side of the Rebbe, it's behind. Yeah, but I think it's behind. This table was behind the Rebbe. Most of the... Huh?
It's behind the Rebbe. So
it's behind. The Rebbe's bima, there's nothing there, but the kids would go there many times. You could see us on top of it. These are the years that I was there, or if I was married, or I was on this side of the Rebbe. It was a very unique thing to be part of the Rebbe davening for the Yomid. The Rebbe's expression during davening, to be part of that minyan, was very unique. And by a Rebbe, nobody says Kaddish when the Rebbe says Kaddish, because the Rebbe includes everybody else. In the later years, the Rebbe wanted other people to say Kaddish as well, but it was used to be in the beginning that nobody would say Kaddish, and it was known that a Rebbe, of course, elevates everybody at that time. Vav Tishrei was Vabrein as well, and Vav Tishrei started also years later Lekach. Lekach was something you got out of Yom Kippur, and I would say Shalom Aleichem Sukkah and give you a piece of Lekach. But on Vav Tishrei, the later years, the Rebbe started doing it on Vav Tishrei, and of course the Rebbe had a Vabrein on Vav Tishrei. All the Vabreingans for the week they stopped Tashum Ches, and there were only Sichos and or Vabreingans and Shabbos. The Rebbe, the Yichidus is after Tishrei, huh? Evan talked to the Sheikh. Evan never talked to the Sheikh. No. This is the Yichidus that you're watching, and that was the Yichidus after Tishrei. It's nothing to do with Tishrei. Huh? Before Rosh Hashanah. No, that's not. This is the Yichidus. Go back and I'll show you. The Rebbe is not on the stage. The Rebbe is on the bottom. The Rebbe is on the bottom, and this is a shvil where the people would go after they would get the dollar from the Rebbe, and on the other side is the men. And I was standing in the bathroom with the door right there, so I would know my spot right there. This is how the Rebbe would speak. This is the microphone that I would have later years, and the lower table that I would have during the. This is large Yechidus, which is named after Tishrei. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, guess. This is a large Yechidus of guest. This is Rabbi Harlech, and this is Mr. Mendy. Got distracted from the camera. Going up. Children would go by, men would go by Faleka. Women would only go by, I think, in the Sukkah, later Shayna Rabbah. This is a picture of the Sukkah, and then I would also give Leka for those that didn't get by the Sukkah. This is, of course, Rebbe Netanyahu, who received Leka. Many people would come, whoever didn't receive on every Yom Kippur. This is every Yom Kippur by the Rebbe's room. They changed the place over the years. The Rebbe used to go into his room, the door was open, and the Rebbe would deal with all the boxes and everything. Of course, my house was there, my brother was inside the room, and they would, look inside, deal with the boxes inside. Then they changed it. This was the Rebbe coming to get blocked over the Rebbe's door to his room. The Rebbe would give out the last 2 years, giving out lekach over the table. Erev Yom Kippur. Erev Yom Kippur was, of course, a very, very, very intense time. The Rebbe, davening the entire Yom Kippur, you see the Rebbe like a malach. The Rebbe is in the kittel. You see the Rebbe in sneakers, the white, the black, kind of sneakers with a white or off-white sole. And the Rebbe used to have his unique shoes that he wear all year. Totav Shemem Tess about. The Rebbe would wear shoes that were so torn that was even a miracle how the Rebbe would walk with it not falling off. That's how the Rebbe, for years the Rebbe had those shoes. I think in Toshin Nun, and the Rebbe got a new pair of shoes. And Toshin, and every year by Yom Kippur, the Rebbe would put, of course, the sneakers and come out with the kippur. In the morning, the Rebbe would come out to Kaparis. Seeing the Rebbe walk out with the chicken was obviously very different, unique, but 7 o'clock. Then we would do the actual Kaparis in his room. The Rebbe was present. Maybe Rabbi Greenbaum's grandfather was a shaychet. I doubt it because he was waiting outside. And this is later on, they made this right in front by some assembly. It used to be in the sukkah. In the sukkah was the usual place. This is in the sukkah. The Rebbe would come out and pass it to Rabbi Kalmanson. Rabbi Shloshim Kalmanson would be the shaychet. Then would stand there, and as you saw the second that the shaychet would make that slit, you see the Rebbe give a little, visibly you would see a little shake by the Rebbe. He would tear out the feathers from the same chicken and give it to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe would make the bracha, Kisadam Ba'afar, on this shovel that was covered with paper that he prepared to have the dirt there, and then would use the feathers to cover the earth. And then would go to mikveh afterwards, before davening. The Rebbe throughout the year did not go to mikveh. The Rebbe throughout the year would go only before the Rebbe would go to the oil. No Shabbos, no other time. It would go every time that would go to the oil, then would go to the mikveh. One exception would be Tafshim Mem Vav. The Rebbe had a unique injury in his sciatic nerve, and the Rebbe was barely able to walk, but the Rebbe would not stop going to the oil. The first time the Rebbe went to the oil, the Rebbe went to mikveh, and it took many hours. And after that, the Rebbe stopped. Went to mikveh at that period of time only, until it healed. And the Rebbe stopped davening next to his room. There was a whole period of Tashim and Vav. And the Rebbe's car changed, it drove into 770, and many other interesting changes that happened. It was hard to see the Rebbe in so much pain, but the Rebbe went to Fabrengen, and the Rebbe went to the oil, etc. Every Yom Kippur, the Rebbe would go to mikveh. And the crazy thing was, one year every Kippur, I was going to the oil. Can you imagine the Rebbe's schedule? The Kaparis in the morning to doing so many things that day, and then was like, what? But there was a one time, as far as I remember, I think it was Tafshim Aleph, and it was just mincha. It was a short time. He came back. It was a very, as far as I remember. If I'm wrong, then tell me if I'm wrong. As far as I remember, it was 1 year. The Rebbe came. There was a quick davening in the morning, and the Rebbe came down to give a bracha to all anash. The way it all started was like this: Tafshin Yud Aleph, the Rebbe's Rebbe, and people go into the Rebbe to ask for bracha. So the Rebbe would give a bracha to anash, to all the people. Then the Rebbe would get dressed in the kapata and the kittel, and the Rebbe said it's a unique bracha for Bachar. The father says he remembers when he's a Bachar. He's an older chassid that missed the first one and he came for the second one. And when he came for the second one, the Rebbe said, "Was is das? And what are you doing here?" And he says, "I felt I missed." So the Rebbe said, this is not for Bachar. This is only for Bachar. And the Rebbe said, the Shvet Gezok is not for Bachar. The Rebbe said, my father-in-law said this, and we all know that Rebbe's father-in-law was in different kind of communication after Tafshin Yud. We met, many times of upbringing, many times the people the Rebbe said from the Shver, from my father-in-law. And the Rebbe, I remember upbringing, the Rebbe said the Kodesh from the Shver, things like that when he was talking about his own instructions. The Rebbe referred to a lot of things when he went to the Oil as he was repeating things from his father. The Rebbe made this unique Bachar. So it was in the Rebbe's room. As the Hasidim grew, so he used to have it in the Rebbe's Gedei Natachti. And it was very famous, even though I wasn't there, but it's as if I was there because I know the characters. Rabbi Levi, Shalom Ber Levi, he used to have a spot over there in Gedei Natachti. He would be with bags of sandwiches for the whole day so he doesn't get hungry. And so they'd get the place for Bacham's Bracha, and he would stand in that corner, in a box, he had a spot and nobody could move him. And the Rebbe would go after the Bracha downstairs by Mincha. The Rebbe would get ready in his room, go to the Rebbe's need to Suda, short Suda, come back. They say when the Rebbe would open his door, the Rebbe would jump back. That's how squishy it was, so he could bench the Bacharim. And the Rebbe would express himself that nobody cares about the Bacharim. They don't break their own, they have no time to farfast, they have no time to eat before the fast, and no one's caring for them. So they changed the method, and they made it the place of the Bacharim should be in the front zal upstairs. It's not in the front for all the Bacharim there either. So eventually they took all the frames. You see these windows here? So imagine you take the entire frames out of all these windows. For all the windows in the front room, they took out the frames. So the entire sukkah became like one room. And the second room, they took out the bookcases that were back to back. That was really a fake window. So those bookcases all came out. So there was an open room. It's like 3 rooms and 2 rooms, and then the outside all jointed together. And that would come out with, of course, with the Kittel, and also the videos of it. The unique tzir of the Rebbe, holding covering his eyes and making this unique bracha was something that you can only experience it if you're there. I was a young kid once, Chatoya and Masker, and I was there in the front room when I wasn't supposed to be there. It was like Latkovka put me on the shoulder as he's a Shliach in New Jersey in Bris Avram, and I didn't know it was against the rules. I used to krich. That was my nature. And I told my father, I was there in the front room and the Bacher had me in the shoulder. I said, "What? The Rebbe made a condition. You have to be a Bacher and you have to learn Chassidus. You have to have a Shir Chassidus." The Rebbe would teach. The Rebbe said the condition to be a Tomim is you have to have in your Seder that you learn Chassidus and you're a Bacher. That's considered the Rebbe's children. So if you want to know, what is the criteria? The Rebbe said for you that you are one of his kids. It's unique. It's not like a relationship of the Rebbe to people. It's not like a relationship the Rebbe has to people in the rest of the world. It's a relationship you have to a Bacher. Which, by the way, just a side note, if you watch any of the videos of dollars, or any times the Bacher would go through, the Rebbe would give $1 to anybody with a prior guy or someone that's doing business, a smile, a Bacher, the Rebbe would just look to the next person. Like it would be so quick, as if the Rebbe had a unique relationship with Bacherim that was not about kiruv. Kiruv means making somebody feel close. By the Rebbe, it was considered that if the Rebbe gives you kiruv, you need something extra special. But a Bacherim were like one of the Rebbe's kids. The Rebbe always referred to the Bacherim as his kids. If you want to know what is the criteria the Rebbe said, as a bar mitzvah boy, and you are one of my children, and you're included in this bracha, is if you learn Chassidus every day, and it's part of your curriculum, and that you're a Talmud, which means of course you're in the Rebbe's yeshivas. But obviously later years, I ended up only in the other place, which is the sukkah, and again Chatayani Maskir, I felt, and I can't breathe. So they let me go back in, and I ended up most of the times in that room, which was only allowed to be for 23-year-olds, I think. 23-year-old, 25. That was Kvutza, the second one, and 23. So Kvutza and 23 was the second one, and 25 enough? So there's so many 25 enough? I was scared, Okay. So I'm in trouble. Many times.
By the way, you said that was serious. I left the community, meaning always woke up very serious, not looked around anybody, and straight off of this and start the bracha. When you used to be other places, look around.
Like the Rebbe would not even like give any like you saw in the Rebbe that he's in the middle of doing something like by Tkiyas, the same concept. You saw the Rebbe by Tkiyas, Rabbi Gerari already spoke about HaShana, but when the Rebbe was there, it was like you saw something very serious is happening here. The shape, the cover, everything was like it's something very serious is happening right now. And when the Rebbe came down, there was of course something very serious. One time the Rebbe came with the shoes, and the Rebbe even walked all the way down the stairs in the back, and then went back up to get the sneakers for Yom Kippur. The Rebbe coming down to Kol Nidre was very powerful. Of course, it's Yom Kippur. The Rebbe would start right away saying Tillim. The Rebbe started with Avinu Malkeinu if it wasn't Shabbos. And it was one time, not going to go into this right now, when I was a kid, one of the people that the Rebbe promised him every year that he will be every year he'll be able to open the Kodesh Psicha for Kol Nidre. The Gabi would say that Shmuel Gerari is asking for a Haftacha, he's asking for a promise to come back next year, that he's buying Psicha for Kol Nidre on that condition. He always got that condition, and he made it to there, but he didn't make to open it. I saw him, I feel bad to say it this way, but I saw him standing very, very healthy during the bracha to the Bachrim, because I wasn't all the way upstairs, I came down part of it. As I said, I was a kricha, so I went there and I came down. So he was there with his cane, like enjoying, listening to the Rebbe's bracha, but he missed going to the front. So after the Rebbe came to the front, he pushed his way in. And I remember him clearly, he was pushing his way in, breathing heavy. And I watched him. He sat down and he gave up his neshama right there. For an hour, the Rebbe waited. The Rebbe told the paramedics to keep on trying. And they waited till he went on. They did Kol Nidre like an hour after Shliach, like way into the night. They did Kol Nidre, which was a episode that happened right there in 770. The Rebbe's involvement with someone, involvement with Chassidim, and his care. Schus this guy had. The Rebbe came down to Kol Nidre, held a Sefer Torah, small Sefer Torah. The Rebbe stood next to the Chazan. It was a small table. In those days, it wasn't a Shach's table. His brother-in-law used to sit over there with the Stender, next to the Chazan. And the Rebbe came down there a few times a year, Shlein Rabbah. One of the times was also Kol Nidre. The Chazan would hold the Sefer Torah, and the Rebbe would hold the Sefer Torah. And, what's that say, right? Chazan not always. Motl, Talshevsky couldn't hold. But what's the name again? The Sheikh.
Berkowitz.
As far as I remember. Yeah. I think when a Berkowitz called one. As far as I remember, it was a short guy with a big Torah. It was very unique. As far as I remember. No? As far as I remember, Talshevsky didn't and Berkowitz did, but I could be wrong about that. Am I wrong?
Just two?
I remember with the older one.
I think it was two on the side. I'm just not sure.
Okay.
On the side of here.
Yeah.
In the back was maybe there's somebody else. And I was from the back, so I don't actually not.
You think Berkowitz held it, right?
I think that it was like.
I think Berkowitz held it. I never know.
On the side.
The Rebbe Sefer Torah.
But maybe not, because maybe, like I said, it was from front, it was short. I don't know.
Right. Okay. So before that, I missed one unique thing. Go back for a second. Also was very unique. Before that, I gave the bracha to everybody else. The Rebbe came to Mincha. The Rebbe would give tzedakah in all the pushkas, which is very unique. The Rebbe with the big bag. It's a whole aveda. The Rebbe would go to every single pushka. Whatever the kids would come up with, and they would wait over their rest and grab their unique box. Everybody would put up boxes there, and it took like a good 20 minutes. That would come into 770, and that would put with a big bag, that would put nickels. And says the Baal Shem Tov says that you get rid of all the clippers with the noise of the coins. The Rebbe's kittel was unique. It was not a usual kittel. The Rebbe's kittel was a pullover, not like people have a button down. The Rebbe was made out of Frierdiker Rebbe's garments. You saw that it was, or maybe it was Frierdiker Rebbe's kittel himself. You saw that it was not really the Rebbe's size. You saw that it was hanging out a lot because the Frierdiker Rebbe had arms. He had multiple sclerosis and the other injuries that they made it a little wider for the Frierdiker to get his arms in there. And you see like it's hanging down a lot, and it was a little short in his kapata. The Rebbe's kapata. The Rebbe's garment was very unique on the Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It was with shredded ones. I'm not sure it's from the Tzemach Tzedek. I heard it that time when I was a child. If you know anything different, you tell me. And the
black garment?
Yeah. It's different than Hoya for sure. All these reds coming out. It was a unique garment for sure.
Only words.
And an orange and brown tichel that you saw visibly on by the Rebbe. Rebbe had it by Kiyas also. I think it's on the Marash as far as I remember. Like orange and brownish kind of tichel. HaShana for sure didn't have
HaShana though, it's not, you pick from the tablets, from the shapers.
The shapers. So we didn't. Okay, fine.
I don't remember.
Fine. Definitely there was the garden of the other Rebbeim in. So we definitely would be the Gart, will definitely be the Kittel, and definitely would be on Rosh Hashanah that handkerchief. It's just something I remember from the end of the Rebbeim. So now davening on Yom Kippur, you can't say it was very, very unique. It was the Rebbe quiet, the Rebbe was just davening. The Rebbe wouldn't even go to Maftir. We would laugh at the Israelis that would push for Maftir because they would hear Chadakov sing Solu Solu. Chadakov would have his Maftir at that time. But it was not the time that the Rebbe would go to Maftir. So during Shachris, it looked very simple. But I would never sleep in. I always wanted to be there. Oh, it was empty. You were frozen with the air conditioning by night. The Rebbe had the whole Tehillim, and Balabatim or whatever. Especially after the Meister with Shmuel Berari, it was so late at night. Then the Rebbe would take the whole Tehillim downstairs, and the place would desert.
And then was the opportunity to see the Rebbe with the glasses. This is the only time you were able to see besides the cut to the layer.
So first years before that was the only time. Later on, during Rosh Hashanah, it started off with Tishrei with the Kiddush, and then later on during Rosh Hashanah and during Yom Kippur, during various times, we were in the middle of the Kiddush. Like you say, those extra things with the chazan, so I'll get attacked from somebody, glasses on. Like, it looked, the Rebbe would like this, and would turn away. For some reason, the putting on the glasses by the Rebbe was a private thing. It was like taking off of in front of the Chassidim. Rebbe didn't want to wear glasses, and even when the Rebbe did it later years, it was so quick and so hidden. Like put it out back in his pocket here, and then put it back out, throughout the Kiddush. So when it came to the Avodah, we all left because we left for Yisrael. When it came to the Avodah, we came back in. Of course, that was unique to see the Rebbe falling Kodim. The Rebbe falling Kodim was very unique, as the Rebbe's system was falling straight on his knees, not holding on to anything, and falling to his hands first, and then to the Rebbe's head down again. And then would get up very quickly and want to look at the Chazan. After I mentioned the Yitashim and Bob, that the Rebbe had a Saganic nerve issue, but from Yitashim and Zayin and on, they put more support on both sides for the Rebbe to be able to get himself up. It was relatively quick. The Rebbe never had any assistance of getting up, during any of these times. But it was also
I think I remember one year, the Rebbe went on his thumbs and he picked up his knees, like it was on the toe, like he picked up himself.
When he was, I was a kid, was shocking with a fall. The Rebbe would like drop himself down, and then put the hands down. So you mentioned me also the year before, the thumb going up there. I remember it. Nobody pointed out to us. We didn't realize it, and the Rebbe putting his head all the way down. So you need to see the Rebbe fall. Like the Rebbe was so perfect in the walking, perfect in the standing during davening. Everything was so exact by the Rebbe. You never saw a moment of something different. So then there was the Hafsaka. After, let me tell you B'chas Kainim. B'chas Kainim, the Rebbe couldn't stay in this place. Why couldn't the Rebbe stay in this place? You have to be in front of the Kainim. You have to be facing the Kainim. So the Rebbe would go, the Rebbe's bimah would have a little, the edge of it, had a L-shaped cut. And that L-shaped cut was meant for this stender, which was usually used upstairs. So the Rebbe would come to Monday and Thursday to do Kriya. The Rebbe would come without the talis. And so they used the same stender downstairs. It's called a table stender, table podium. And then would use it for, it was on the bima, and then it would stand here for B'chas Kainim. So right over here, you have to imagine, was a pole. So the groaner would stand right here. And right behind there was a place for Skainim. Not your father, not your uncle or whatever. They used to be in the second bench closer to the wall. But over there was the Volmovsky and the Futterfras and a few other people. And of course, I was right there in front of them and leaning forward because I don't want to block them. So my head, you have to understand, is very close to where the Rebbe was standing. And Meislish used to always bang me and say, don't be ashamed, look, doing B'chas Kainim. Look what the Rebbe is doing. So I used to watch the Rebbe doing B'chas Kainim. The Rebbe would, of course I didn't see Kainim. We made a very, very narrow thing so we couldn't see the Rebbe. And the Rebbe, by Yivarecha, so when the Chazan say, Yivarecha, so by the end, when the Chazan Yivarecha, then would make to the right, like that, and then the whole time while the Kainim would sing it, we would make it, Yivarecha, Hashem, Yishmanecha. It's in the, and then like this. Yivarecha, so the whole time at the Kainim, then we go, and then by the end, like with the actual word, it would be a double one. Yivarecha, then I'll show you Shem. So by the Chazan, the Rebbe wouldn't sing wouldn't shake it, only by the actual word. By the Kainim was the whole time during the during the singing, the Rebbe would also make with his head under his talus. Obviously, you were only able to see this if you were close, and you know. And as they say, sometimes people stick their nose where they shouldn't supposed to. So my head was there, so Rebbe's talus was all thrown over. So Rebbe would redo his talus. So one of the years I got a good whip with the tzitzis. So I sort of felt I deserved it. But that was a good experience to have actually the Rebbe's whip, going on. So that was Birchas Kohanim. And the Rebbe would not, by Rosh HaShana, the Rebbe would not say Yeshikoyach Kohanim until after Tehillim. Why? Speak. But over here, the Rebbe would do it right away after Kaddish. I would say Shliach to every person, and then we'll go back up till wherever the Hafsaka is, whatever you do by the Hafsaka. Then the Rebbe would go up to the Hafsaka. And it was a mess. Everybody's running to the front because everybody wants to be there during Holy Church. So there were two things happening by Mincha and by Nil. One thing is, of course, Mafta Yoina. After Yoina, it's a big source to say Mafta Yoina. People bid for big money to say Mafta Yoina, but it's also supposed to hear Mafta Yoina. So who do you want to hear Mafta Yoina from the Nevi'us, if not from the Rebbe? So people would push to hear Mafta Yoina. I may have been too young and smart enough to appreciate it, the value of it. I wanted to be by Napoleon's March. I was always in the front. By Yom Kippur, I've never heard Mafta Yoina. And if you realize that the Rebbe's Bima was different on Rosh Yom Kippur than the whole year. It was further back west. East is the front, Mizrach. That was further back to Myron. An entire pole difference. If you know, 770 goes by poles. So an entire pole difference means all the way to where the Rebbe's place was bringing. Why? So people could see the Rebbe by Tkiyas. And they sort of created all the seats arrangements by 770. They sold seats. The map of 770 was created around the Bima being all the way back. So to hear Mafta Yoina from the front was impossible. And so basically we stood in the front. In the earlier years, there was a shvil in the front, the entire front of the shvil. Nobody was able to go in, only kids. The later years, they allowed the adults to go in there also, but they made a second shvil closer up right near the chazan. So as I became bar mitzvah, or like when I was already 11, 12, they already moved up the shvil towards the front. So even for me to be there for Ne'ilah was very squishy. It was very hard to be in there. I witnessed all the people upset with the chazan and all that, the commotion that was going on. We were pushing the chazan the whole time. We were right there. So Tashim Aleph, 1981, was the same kviyas like this year with Shabbos. The Shliach is against this. What do you remember? I said it last year already. Did I say it last year? Yeah. Okay. So it's the same kviyas as this year. So let me just tell you the experience that we had by Ne'ilah. The Rebbe, that year of course we didn't, there was no Vina Malkeinu, because Shabbos don't say Vina Malkeinu. The only time we say Vina Malkeinu is where? After Ne'ilah, right before Napoleon's March. So the Rebbe, by Napoleon's March, unique thing that we never did it before, the Rebbe started banging for a Vina Malkeinu, usually it's one time. The Rebbe did it 10 times. And the later time when the Rebbe was doing it, it was so powerful, the shtender was shaking. The Rebbe was shaking like this. There was a very strong Avinu Malkeinu. And for every Avinu Malkeinu, the Rebbe had to feed that finger out for that Avinu Malkeinu. And the second one was this one, the third one was this one, the first one. Every one of it, the Rebbe the entire time, which is like a few minutes. The Rebbe would go like this for a long time with one hand, and the second time was with both hands, like the second part of Avinu Malkeinu was all the way till the end, which is a long, long time. Was you go crazy in 770, and the Rebbe something intense is happening. And then, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because I was a kid, in Tashma Aleph, I'm definitely not allowed to say Eidos and anything I saw at that time. I was not even 9 years old. So I was 8 years old at that time. But I remember uniquely the Rebbe putting his hand in his talus during the Vina Malkeinu, and the Chazan wanted to finish off, and everybody was yelling to Shav because the Rebbe was still saying it. It was late already. And the Rebbe took his hand out from under his talus, the Rebbe went like this. And you saw the Rebbe's hand is wet, totally wet. It was a unique time that year. The banging by Vina Malkeinu, the shaking during Vina Malkeinu, and then the going to Napoleon's March was also very unique. Rebbe used to have the chair only, not the stage. But the Rebbe used to have the chair only against the wall, and the Rebbe used to get up on the chair. Years later, they put the chair in the corner, and then later they put a stool in front of the chair as like a stepping stool to get up. And then eventually, they built the stage, and the Rebbe should be secure. It's all happened after Tashim involved, when there's more support that Rebbe needed, and they felt it was more important. It was important to put that. The Rebbe is get up on the chair. So let's describe even Malach for any other times after that. Sometimes the Rebbe would start the Napoleon's march by the Stender. So the Rebbe starts by Stender. Then all of a sudden, stronger and stronger. The Rebbe would turn around and get up on the chair. And then we get up on the chair. So in the beginning, many times that I remember, the talus was covering his face. And then in the middle, the Rebbe would reveal his face from the talus, red like a tomato. It was so intense, you can't imagine how intense the Rebbe was. But the Rebbe's intensity was like a shift from seriousness to simcha. It was like you felt it's happening right there and then. Everything is supposed to happen right now. Nila, Shari Shemayim are closing right now. It's the moment. It's like you felt you were there. You were there at the place that everything is happening. You felt it during Tkiyas. You felt it as hard as a stone as you have, or as a cool person that you are. If you're present there, you know that this is where the Tzaddik Adar is making everything happen. And you see that during the making of his hands by Gil Malkeinu, gradually going to Hashem Elokim, gradually going to Napoleon's march, and not like the first part of it was the Rebbe's face closed, and then eventually you see the Rebbe, reveal his face and just go so strong in Napoleon's march with both the hands. Every time was a unique tzir, and you felt that relief. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be fun. That would go down. It's the only time a year that all of us that want to see the Rebbe and want to see what kind of yarmulke the Rebbe had and how unique the Rebbe was. It's the one time a year that you were able to see the Rebbe's head without a hat. For a split second. Because the Rebbe had his hat in the Stender. He had doors. The Rebbe came down Mincha holding his hat in his hand. The Rebbe would put it in the Stender. And then by Ma'ariv, the Rebbe would take off his talus and put on his hat. The Rebbe would put on his hat like this. That would always fit in both sides. And that was a unique time, so if you want to know the little shtick that the kids knew, so at the beginning of the time, they had this, a silk button in the middle with 6 parts, but later on it changed to a regular cloth one, but it was always a 6-part, it's the later years. Probably later, maybe early noon. Early noon, probably.
What was the longest that you remember in Napoleon's march last time?
I don't know. Good 15, I don't know. 10 minutes. I don't know why. I can't remember that. It was my place would be, on the chair itself could be for sure 10 minutes. Change positions, change like it's like this, or all of a sudden would be thrown like this. And the house would fall off. I used to have the house fall off here. And then I grabbed it over here and pulled it over all the way. And all my father wanted to know that they never make a bracha. Every time I would tell my father the house fall off, he says, "You're going to make a bracha." There's no test that the house fall off totally by during the sukkah during an anointing. Mem test that he got the Rebbe a talus with a very, very silk inside. And the Rebbe never wore it after that in sukkahs. After that davening. He got the Rebbe a brand new talus from test. Silk. Very slippery. And in the middle of doing the anointing one time, and put it down. Of course we shoved Groner into it. He had to put his talus also. He was in the bottom doing his anointing, ran up, whatever. So then I put it back down. It was never, I never saw it up. At the end of, this is how you saw the Rebbe during Ma'ariv. Ma'ariv was like the time where everyone hears out, everyone goes out already. But we always stay there. And the Rebbe would say afterwards, of course, Good Yom Tiv, because it's you saw the Rebbe's face. You see the smile that Rebbe's face. Look at that. See that smile that Rebbe's face, I'll tell you exactly what happened there. It was first name Shalom Ber Levit. That's what I probably asked before. First name Shalom Ber Levit. Anybody related to him?
Shalom Ber
Levit. Shalom Ber Levit was Shmuel ben Zainukun in Crown Heights. He owned door for a long time and it sold. So he, Rabbi Levi. That's a nice expression. That's how it's called. So He was, the Rebbe was on the bottom. Why was the Rebbe on the bottom? Tavshim Memtes, who knows? And not on top? Tavshim Memtes, who could think quickly? Why would the Rebbe be down in mind at the bottom, not on the top by his place? Well, let me put it better. Why was he by the Chazan Stender?
Because
your said he was. For who? Tavshim Memtes. So the Rebbe Tavshim Memtes down for the Yom Kippur. And he sent Groner to go outside to see if there's a Levana, if they can make a dish Levana. And I was waiting him on. And all of a sudden, John Brother Ricky comes in and speaks loudly to the Rebbe. Only he was able to do that. The guy didn't reisen and the Gezenas they stuck in Levana. I went outside and I saw that there's no Levana. The Rebbe smiled. The Rebbe said, "There is Levana, it's Behalten. There is a Levana, but it's hidden." And the Rebbe said, "Ei bazei leich achel b'simcha es lach b'chem." If so, go home. It says in the pasuk. Where is it from? You correct me over here.
Mishnah.
I can't remember. Go home and eat the simcha, your bread, and then I would say, Yom Tov, that was the smile I thought. And there's also a unique smile when the Rebbe would come out and Kiddush Levana. When the Rebbe would come out to his room, afraid and was waiting with him with camera the first time, the Rebbe was like a big smile, like, how did you manage to do that? I think he told the Rebbe, he hides it before Yom Tov, so you can get the Rebbe, of course, with this. The Rebbe would do Kiddush Levana. So Kiddush Levana, let me tell you, I don't know if I say it every year, if I said it to you, Kiddush Levana years ago would not be with a special shtetl. What is it? Remember or not? Okay. Did I say it every year or not? At the college. Kiddush Levana, the Rebbe would take a siddur, and the Rebbe would look around for the Levana, and then would stop somewhere, wherever the Rebbe stopped with the siddur. Everybody would gather around the Rebbe, whoever was lucky was around the Rebbe. And then years later, they already saw where there's a Levana, and they put the Rebbe shtetl there and a light. So one of the years I was young, much younger than you, the Rebbe was in Kiddush Levana, and I stuck my hand, of course, ended up right there. And the Rebbe was saying Kaddish. When somebody was saying Kaddish, the entire Kaddish the Rebbe said with the Yom Kippur in a very unique way that hopefully will stay with me for the rest of my life. Davening and saying Kaddish, saying Yom Kippur, etc. It was oh man, Yehi Shmei Rabba the whole way through. With me. Huh? Okay. That would touch his teeth by, you can see it in the videos. By, it says somewhere you should say, there's a school to say, Lo yeh li ke'ev shinayim. You say that I should not have any toothaches. You say it after, Baruch Esach, Baruch Yitzchak, Baruch Kenach, before it says Kishem Shani Reikid, you say, Lo yeh li ke'ev shinayim. Rebbe, you don't know what the Rebbe said, but you saw the Rebbe every time made like this. He's touching his teeth. I can hear you. I had only one when I remember as a kid, and then I had no more left later on. But the Rebbe used to touch his teeth. Am I over his time yet? No.
Who got the
Shalom was not unique for someone, but you maybe was Stritsky, Mayor Harlik, and sometimes the whole Zerkin was one of the what's called Nevada Masada. With no, they didn't choose, but they were the ones that were positioned in a place to be able to get it. Harley got it usually, Stritsky got it usually, and Zerkin got it most of the times. The Rebbe was very uniquely, Rebbe Stritsky, Zerkin, and Rebbe Harley Jr. right here, probably him. The Rebbe, you saw on the Rebbe's face, coming out of Yom Kippur, the simcha. It changed. The seriousness, the heaviness, the weight that it was carrying on the Rebbe during Yom Kippur and Rosh HaShana, you see how it was alleviated at that moment. What you were experiencing with the Rebbe. You see the Rebbe coming in from Kiddush Levana, going up Kiddush Levana, it was a simcha. From there on, Sukkot and Sfastera, as you will hear from Rabbi Leibel Korf, was of course a very uplifting. This is the time that I asked him about the camera. As far as I remember, that was question. So I asked Freddie about was it Schnell? And he said that he hit it over here before I hit it before Yom Kippur. That was very much Makar of Levisha Freddie, who was a far cousin of the Rebbe, and the Rebbe gave him a unique permission. The Rebbe would not allow cameras in the early years. The Rebbe used to
not allowed cameras, so we
cameras. The Rebbe used to say that basically what you saw from the Rebbe was training us to not be chitzonium, but be pnimi. Not care about the outwardly thing, but take his message with pnimius. The Rebbe would want people to give back the camera if they didn't know chitas that day. He said, "Gibt es given a Fotoapparat." The Rebbe would say, "Putting here on the tape." He says, "Was das given?" So someone says, "Given a lempo." He says, "Nee, das given a Fotoapparat." So again, someone tells the Rebbe it was just a lamp. The Rebbe said no, it was a camera. Fatah Barat was a camera. So the Rebbe was like, the camera. On the second was like, "But Gitor Chitas, but Gitor the Tanya, you learn Tanya already. And when I learn Tanya, then I'll give him the camera back." And that was very much.
One person, the Rebbe told
many times.
The Rebbe told them straight out that every time they take a picture from me, that is not very Tanya.
To go at the Goldschmidt. Shmini. I'm as Baki and Tanya. But later on, the Rebbe said that let's straighten because it's his parnasa. But the Rebbe, from Freighton, they allowed cameras and video cameras to come in. He had a big part in allowing all this footage to be accepted. Goldstein for years used to do it without permission. And he used to get it from there a lot. And Uncle Yossi passed away. But this is the building of the Rebbe Sukkah. It was built that night. Matzah Yom Kippur. This used to be the Rebbe's only sukkah. Later on, Rabbi Leibel was very involved in making another sukkah that was more private. The schach over here was not from California, not this one. Yeah, but the other one, Rabbi Leibel was involved. He brought problems from California because they wanted the Rebbe to have a private one. Because the Rebbe used to go very often just to learn, just to do something in the sukkah that was very uncomfortable for NSM7. The Rebbe was popping out. And the Rebbe used to do it in a very private way. The Bachrim, they used to watch ladies, used to see them in the middle of the night come out in very unique ways. And then we used to do just private sukkah instead of having to go for the Rebbe.
Which did they start on the sukkah?
Huh?
Which did they start on the sukkah? After the Lord of the found.
Any questions and answers? Yeah? Nobody else? When I was a little kid, very, very young, I remember this. Never wanted all the kids to be by him, next to him during the Points March. I was a very young kid, I may even have been before our church. They threw me over, my father threw me over, I don't know how he did it to me. And I got all the way in the front, the Raska was in the front, and I was crying the whole time. Took off my jacket and passed it over to someone. I thought it was like somewhere in Shemayim that they gave it in. That's how short I was compared to everybody else. Never wanted all the kids to come to the front. Not sure if it was, when was Yom Kippur war?
Was it Yom Kippur? It was Yom Kippur.
I'm not sure. I'm Dalit. Dalit, I was born on the days. So I'm Dalit, yeah. I was mamish a young kid. I remember the only memories I had in the 70s was scary. I was frightened. My father, when at a young age like that, just beat me to the front. And it's one of my only memories I have of that age. Anyway, Shliach for having me here.